Folks, welcome to the very first episode of Inside the D. It's Season 1, Episode 1. Joined here today by Bram van Wyk. Bram, how cool is this? I mean, it's something we spoke about, and it's taken, less than a week for us to sit here tonight inside the D of Grey College and record our first episode.
Yeah, JD, yes, what a nice initiative. Hey? And I think hockey has longed for this for many years. Just because you feel that hockey needs to be out there. We need to bring the game to the people more. So this is lovely. What a dream come true. And how not better to do it with a legendary JD Ferraro next to me over here.
I don't know about that. Folks, like I said, we at Grey College, where we just witnessed Grey College beating Affies by 4-1. A packed stadium, fantastic atmosphere. And talking about atmosphere, let's get into that clubhouse buzz, because we've got quite a lot to run through in terms of Free State Schools League. We are in the Free State for this episode, and we're going to get stuck in straight into the Girls League. A couple of results this week, Bram.
Yeah, JD, there's been some interesting results as we've witnessed so far in the Schools League in terms of the under 18 girls. I'm just going to remember, we've seen Unisi getting a 14-0 score against Central. We've seen Unisi getting a 10-0 score, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, against St. Michael's.
So Unisi really racking up the double figures this year. Follow suit and by Oranje Meisie School, always being competitive. A threat to be dealt with in the Bloom League. And if you look at the log currently, Unisi first team, first in the log, the Bloom League with 29 points, and follow suit by Oranje Meisie School, second in the log. So leading into our the big fixture, JD, the big fixture.
Now, folks, it's Tuesday this week. Oranje and Unisi will be running out against each other for what promises to be a fantastic encounter. It's traditionally one of the biggest rivalries in South African girls hockey, and we expect nothing less.
Absolutely, it's an encounter that the whole Bloemfontein actually looks out for. So, folks, if you are near Bloemfontein, you got to get yourself in there. You got to get yourself to Oranje Meisie School. Where are they playing? Do you know?
They're playing at Unisi, so it's Unisi's home game in the league round. And talking about those two schools and the rich history, the players they've produced. I mean, you look at Oranje and you've got to think about the likes of Pietie Coetzee, Antoinette Lowe. Those names alone make you sit up straight. But there's players following in those footsteps at the moment at Oranje. There's a youngster there who's turning 15 soon, Marichal Kras. She made her debut in her grade 8 year, and she's been nothing but phenomenal. A talent that often speak about generational talents. Will I put her in that class? Probably. To play for that school in your grade 8 year, it takes some doing.
And you know, JD, just watching her play, you would never think that she's actually grade 9. And the scary part of it all, you know, when she will be finished with grade 9, she'll be racking up 100 caps.
I struggle to.
How do you get to that point? 100 caps in grade 9 already. So but I do think she's got a bright future. But look, another force to be reckoned with, Bianca Rees-Gibbs from Unisi. I mean, what a matchup!
That's going to be special. Bianca Rees-Gibbs, it's been well documented, but her recovery after having a stroke last year has been miraculous. I've watched her play this year. I've seen her develop and just starting to tick the boxes again. She's joined by the likes of Claire Volskink, who's found a drag flick in the league that I don't think we've seen for quite some time. She puts the ball away. For Oranje, drag flicking wise, there's a couple of campaigners. Elay Kluter stepped up and scored her first one for against Central in the week, rather, for that Oranje side. And then, I mean, it's littered with talent in that fixture.
Yeah, I just want to get back to that young player, Elay Kluter. I mean, that's also a player to look out for. Also just a grade 9 pupil playing for Oranje Meisie School's first team. I think that girl's got some amazing speed on her, especially on the outside. She's got some phenomenal speed. So Unisi would do well, actually, to look after her. And Marichal. But obviously, there's some other forces to be reckoned with. If we look at the Unisi team, they've got a Kyle Potgieter at the back, really solid, calm and composed under pressure. Doesn't concede too many penalties. Doesn't give the ball away. And then you look at up front, you look at Annabelle Venter, also speed galore, strong carrier, can finish some goals.
Yeah, they've got plenty up front. I mean, I think of the likes of Megan Uber at the moment. There's a young Storm Harris also putting her hand up. You can run through the team. In seniors, I think they're sitting north of 650 caps, but those are caps that they will lose at the end of the year. So they'll be in the cycle that Oranje is now. Geister van Skalkwyk had to rebuild after having a team that had just had so much experience last year. And now he's gone through a phase where he's had to pick a couple of youngsters into that side, growing into it.
Yeah, I think if you're talking about a couple, I think there's close to about 6 grade 9 players. Another player that comes to my mind is Danae Janssen van Vieren, the goalkeeper. Also grade 9, but when you watch her play, I mean, she just won the goalkeeper of the tournament down in Cape Town in that Belgatex tournament. Grade 9 goalkeeper.
She really is a talent, and I think it's one of those keepers that in coaching circles a lot of is being said about already. She showed us how good she is. A lovely person off the field, and that's the thing about I think both these sides is there's some fantastic hockey players, but they're even better people, and you can see it in the way they act off the field, ambassadors for their school, and that's always refreshing to see.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, JD, who's your money on though? If you had to put down a little 10 rand note over here.
Folks, I don't have my wallet with me, but I'm gonna risk it here, and I'm gonna say Unisi. What they've shown us this season, their ability to score when they need to score goals. It's the 600 plus cap factor up with the likes of Potgieter, Reese Gibbs,
Georgia and
Maria Cambanis. You have to, if you do not look after Georgia or Maria Cambanis, you're going to have your hands full defensively. They managed to create magic when they're on the ball. At the back, Ileana de Gouveia has grown into a job nicely. Gemma Cronier is just showing experience. Like I said, nice people. You won't find a nicer person than Gemma Cronier when you meet her. But I'll back Unisi simply because of the experience and that they have at the moment, and also they've shown well in tournaments in big occasions. So that's one thing I do back, and I'll put my money on Unisi. Will it be a big score? No. I think it'll be an arm wrestle of note. Geister van Skalkwyk versus Nika Kurtzen. We've watched this episode so many times, and another one loading. So it'll be an interesting battle.
Yeah, and actually we saw them play now in where did they play? In Cape Town, Wynberg,
yep.
When they had their fixture at the all girls. And again we saw that the scores were really tight. I think the game finished on a 0-0 draw, and Unisi clinched it with the 8 seconds. Obviously it was 20-minute game or 25-minute games, but it just shows you the quality of the two teams. One being really experienced, and one being fairly inexperienced. But slowly but surely racking up the caps and getting that sort of experience that you are looking out for. But yeah, folks, that's going to be an encounter that's gonna blow our minds, I believe, with some good schoolgirl hockey. I don't even know what the rankings are. I know Unisi are 3rd and Oranje on the 5th mark, somewhere
around there.
around.
Yeah,
Last time I checked, I might be wrong. I'm speaking on the correction, but the last time I checked, it was around in those lines. So sure. All up to play for there, to make sure that they do not fall out of that top 10 sort of spots right around the corner end of May.
Yeah, everybody wants to qualify for that top 12 tournament at hosted at Oranje. One of probably the highlight in terms of school hockey, of girls hockey. It's been the pinnacle of girls tournaments, and expect no less this year. They run a tight ship, organizational wise. They host people, and they are so friendly. They are I think they've basically nailed the recipe to host the best tournament in the country.
Yeah, and it's something that all schools look out for. I mean, that's the tournament that you actually want to get at, and everything you do during the year, your programs all leads up to that top 12 sort of tournament, and just showcase off the field, the hospitality off the field. It's a vibe. It's fun. It's nice to be there, and you see all sorts of scouts coming from universities out there, wanting to find the best players they can find with their checkbooks out there.
100%. And you spoke about rankings. That's also the last tournament in the country where the number 1 ranked team in the country will be established. Rennies at the moment still number 1 through Chris Gerber coaching there. We all know the Rennie story at the moment, been very successful, continuation from last year, defending champions. They'll be at this year's tournament, and Chris Gerber will be looking forward to come to Bloemfontein as he'll look to defend his crown. And talking about defending his crown and Bloemfontein, things like that, there's a little kingdom in hockey being built, schoolboy hockey, just opposite the road here in the likes of St Andrews at the moment. They played St John's last Friday night. We were in commentary for that game. We spoke about the physical aspect of St Andrews hockey, and something that we haven't seen, I don't think, forever. They've got men who have plenty of pace. They are conditioned well. They seem to be fairly disciplined. That might be a very big threat in this Bloemfontein League going further into the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to give credit to Coach Trevor Romanheimer. That's the director of hockey at St Andrews. He's really done a good job for St Andrews in the last 2 or so years. Getting in some key personnel. He got in Melrick Maddox to be his attacking sort of advisor consultant. And you can see the evidence of it. They get into the circle, they get outcomes. The attacking player that Melrick Maddox is himself. And the big one for me is Herman, the conditioning coach. That's the owner of Sportfit, Herman Liebenberg. He's done phenomenal work with those St Andrews boys, turning them into, I tell you what, athletes. I mean, we saw them there in the com box and we were so impressed, JD, with their physicality, their physiqueness, just their endurance, their speed, catching St John's in the counterattacks numerous of times. And you can see them a well-drilled outfit.
Definitely. I mean, I think I watched a bit of that second side game as well. What's impressing me at the moment is that they've realised that they obviously have limited numbers, but they coach their B-sides well. And that was one of the aspects that they lacked in the past. I watched the under-14s play. It's a proper under-14 hockey side. The under-16 side is also firing at the moment. So, yeah, it all bodes well for St Andrews. Let's talk more about... there's another big clash that's happened today. It was Central versus Jim Foucher. Boys and girls hockey today, bro.
Boys and girls. It's the FMB Classic Clash. It's it's a rivalry that's come for many, many years between Central and Jim Foucher, and this year it's played at Jim Foucher. And tonight was again the showpiece that you want to expect from this FMB Classic Clash, with also a lot of support out there. Some good hockey being displayed by the two teams, really tightly contested games. But I must tell you, being there at the field, there's some really quality, skillful players in that Jim Foucher team. In the likes of Eben, Sanders, Gershwin, really, really skillful and exciting young talent. And you would see, if you see the Free State Provincial teams, which we will deal with later on in another episode, these boys feature in these Southern Free State teams, and they're really putting their hands up and making a real menace for themselves. And I believe also a threat to look out for, which makes the Bloom League really exciting. I mean, we've got teams competing, competitive. And hence we see the results in our provincial teams as well. Always, they're always there. Our Free State teams are always there competing against the top dogs, if you want to call it that, in South Africa.
Yeah, that's Free State team inclusions. It's always, you find it's a great college, St Andrews, mostly in those teams. That of late, it's been Centrals who've contributed. Jim Foucher got players in that side. Figat Park every year also contribute. So, like you say, a very healthy hockey environment in the Free State. I think hockey in South Africa on the schools level has just exploded. We spoke about it earlier. In terms of boys hockey and the number of players taking up boys hockey at the moment, that is phenomenal.
Yeah, JD, and it's compliments to the school setup. Schools are putting a lot of money into their programs to ensure that they get the best out of their athletes. Quality coaching, and if you just look at around the broader picture of South African hockey, the amount of coaching clinics that's been conducted to get coaches on a proper level, to ensure that what we coach is good for the national program. So when these players graduate through the schools program, they can fall into the university setup, and from there onwards, all club level for that matter, and just contribute positively and being impactful players on a national scene. And that's what your national coaches are looking out for. So what a beautiful, healthy pipeline stream that we have in South African hockey. Boys side, but also girls side as well. There's some oozing talent in South African hockey, girls side, on the girls side of it.
Definitely so, folks. That's part of our coaching buzz at the moment. Let's go into the technical side of things. You're an umpire yourself. There's a big issue at the moment about how that overhead into the D is being implemented. There's various takes on it, but according to the law book, what's your take on? And I'm going to try and create the scenario here. You are on the attack. You get a hit inside your opposition's half. Player runs onto the ball, sees two strikers high, but there's also a defender in the mix. Decides to throw that ball into the overhead, or throw the overhead rather, and from there, that's where the chaos normally happens. Do you want to break that down a bit for the folks?
Yeah, no, JD, I just want to put the record straight. I used to be an umpire.
No, folks,
back in the days,
I'm going to rewind this quickly, because Brian van Wyk made a comeback, 3 weeks ago?
Yes.
Against Parel Gymnasium here in Bloemfontein, where Grey College played. So he's not retired. He's kind of made an appearance again. Everybody was very pleased to see him back umpiring.
Listen, I must tell you, the previous night before that game, I had to go and fit on my umpiring shirt just to see are they still streamlined, you know. I made the comeback after 11 years of retirement. You want to call it retirement, but what a fixture to get involved. I mean, I underestimated those boys' skill and pace. I certainly felt it the next day, JD. But to your point now on that overhead, let me tell you. So for me as well, it's a difficult thing to actually manage properly from an umpiring point of view. But you want to look at, when you chuck that ball in the air, you want to glance around who's the first receiver, and who's the ones that are sort of stepping outside the line of receive, and where will the possible danger come from, or the possible breakdown come from. So that's your first sort of step that you would like. Well, my thought process. And obviously when the ball gets chucked into the circle, if you're the first receiver, we all know the rule. You got to be 5 meters. Well, I say 5 meters, but you got to be 3 to 4 meters, 5 meters outside the radius of receive, and you can't engage until that player sort of gotten the ball under control, and play it from there, which makes that a real attacking ploy, to be honest, if you can get it right, from a training perspective. Into the games, that's a real attacking ploy, because the defensive setup, they got to give you space. So you as a striker, you do have a bit of time to receive and make good decisions from there onwards, which is the threat, to be honest. But unfortunately, sometimes we don't get it right as umpires. Sometimes we do get it right as umpires. So it's just sometimes a matter of timing as well, or correct positioning from an umpire perspective. But it is a difficult thing to really manage, especially in high pressure zones when the ball gets inside the D. Excuse the pun there. But a good attacking ploy, I would say.
Brilliant. Talking about umpiring, let's say there's some young aspiring umpires listening. How do they get graded? How do they get into umpiring?
Yeah, so the first step is to obviously complete your practicals, your online practicals, the Saha Hockey Academy. You log in there, you do your practical, and from there onwards you will log your, your theory, to be honest. And then from there onwards you would then log a practical session where some of your facilitators in the region will then conduct this facilitate this practical, and then from there you get a level, and I'm not too sure which level you get, because there's mini level 1s, 2s and 3s, and level 0s, 01, 02, 0. You see, I haven't been in the umpiring scene for many years, JD. So that's your first step, and then from there onwards is just blowing actively in your leagues, and then hopefully get invited to go to an IPT, whether it's under 12, under 13s, under 14, under 16, under 18, and then from there onwards you get sort of selected from Saha to go to USA, to go to under 21s, to go to the seniors. So that's your sort of your pathway. But to get involved, you got to start with the SA Academy and go do your theory and then book your practical to get your certificate.
Folks, it's finally here. It's season 1, episode 1 of Inside the D, and what a spectacular setting we have here in the D of Grey College, where we just witnessed one of the better inter-schools clashes. Two teams who battled it out, joined by Affies coach Colin Mendoza. Colin, awesome having you here, and the captain Johan, the playmaker, number 6. And we'll get to him a bit later on. There's an interesting story around Johan and the choices he's had to make in his young life. It is the halftime chat, and Colin, we started your coaching journey. We spoke about it earlier. You started as a student at Affies, and then you want to take us from there, because it's a bit of a full circle story, this.
Yeah, no, started studying in Pretoria 2002, coached at Affies under 16 boys. I was there for 2 years and ended up going back home to Rustenburg. Started coaching there in the schools, met a young lighty, talented. Thought he was a single child, then I met his beautiful sister, ended up getting married to her. 3 kids, and 20 years later we get an opportunity to go back to Pretoria and head up hockey at Affies, and yeah, I had to grab that opportunity.
Let's talk about hockey at Affies. It's one of the most prestigious schools in this country. Hockey is a fairly young sport in terms of years, but also not in terms of the whole program. I think you started playing hockey in 1994, if I'm not mistaken. That's
97.
97. Apologies, when you guys started out. But what does it feel like? What do you experience daily when you head up a program like that?
Well, look, firstly, it's a big ship. We've got 18 sides running around there, all the way down to a 16 GH. It's just a lot of numbers. Finding space for them to train, as we share a turf for the girls. It's difficult. It's hard. It's hard to get enough coaches available internally, getting matches for them with facilities. So it's a big ship. It's a big responsibility. It is the first season for me, so I think there's a few things I'd like to change and adapt and improve over time. So yeah, I think as a first season, it's going okay.
Oh, great. Johan, we spoke about your young journey. Do you want to tell the folks when hockey started for you? How old were you when you started playing hockey?
No, it was around grade 3 I started to play hockey in primary school with a lot of friends, but it was just for fun. I never thought that I always thought I would play rugby in the high school, so I never thought that hockey was the way to go for me.
Okay. Tell the folks about the choices you've had to make. Your dad, what school did he go to?
My dad was in Grey College, so from a young age we used to watch these derbies, the rugby, the hockey. So it was always, am I going to Affies or am I going to Grey?
Okay.
So it was 50-50. I wanted to come to Grey, but I also wanted to go to Affies.
And it seems like you made the right choice. You're captaining Affies' first side, die Witstokke, as they are fondly known. What does it mean to you to captain die Witstokke?
I mean, it's a big privilege to captain the Witstokke. I mean, from a young age, it was one of my dreams to captain the Witstokke. That's why I think I chose Affies, because it has a lot of history and it was a dream to captain it, so it means everything to me.
Amazing. Also recently selected to the Northerns under 18A side, your first provincial selection. Let's just talk about that. I mean, normally provincial players will get to the basic flow. It's under 13, under 14, maybe miss a year under 16, and then you play under 16 and 18. But you just came in your matric year and played trials, and now you're in the Northerns under 18A side. How does that feel?
I mean, that's also a big privilege. I didn't thought it would happen, but I always knew somewhere something's going to happen. So I just always worked hard, and it looked like it paid off.
Something that your coach and the team that your coach also played for in his varsity years, and later on playing for the Blues.
Yeah. Sorry, say again. I missed that first.
No. I'm just saying, it's also a team that you played for when you were at varsity, also the Blues.
Yeah, on the 21s and then senior men. Now the Masters, over 35s, and then over 40s now.
Man's giving away his age at the moment, but still doesn't look a day older than 23.
Yeah.
The Blues in its own as a proper hockey culture. I mean, players that they've produced over years, umpires that they've produced over years, the rights who come out of that area as well. a great hockey culture to be part of.
Yeah, no, definitely. We've got a new Northerns Boys committee heading up this year with Colin Fielding taking over. So we're looking to make a few changes, getting a few things in place, running the admin a little bit better, shuffling coaches around a bit. So I'm hoping that we can take a bigger step in the right direction, because I think for the last 2-3 years we've dipped a little bit, especially the under-18s that were in the B section for a number of years. So yeah, I think there's a change. Some of the schools are getting better. Some of the smaller schools are starting to catch up. And that's very exciting. If you look at the primary schools, there used to be a handful of boys that can play. Now there's a good 30-40 that the schools are picking from and choosing from. So it's just, yeah, the numbers have grown, and it's good, especially in Afrikaans culture.
Yeah,
quite a number of schools are picking up.
What we've noticed, or the chat that we've had over the last year or two, is just how hockey has exploded as a boys' sport, especially in that region where you have Waterkloof, Menlo Park, yourself, Garsfontein, all those contributing, and also the smaller schools. I mean, you've got the private schools and the likes of St Albans and those as well.
Yeah.
So a lovely pool to select out of, and yeah, obviously looking good for Northerns hockey. Let's talk more on the national side. So it's green versus gold, not too far from now. Selection process will be mostly in the form of the games that the two teams play. The national team gearing up for some international duty. Who do you guys back, green or gold?
Definitely the gold team.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because Calvin Davis is coaching at Affies, so we need to back him. So yeah, I mean it's definitely the gold team.
Well, you're sitting here in green and gold at the moment. Is that something that you're aspiring to? Is that something that's sitting in the back of your mind and thinking to yourself, I'd love to wear a national jersey somewhere along the line?
Yeah, definitely. I mean that's also, it's a dream to play for the SA team. I mean it's a lot of hard work to come there to get to that place. So yeah, you just need to work hard, and hopefully somewhere you get a chance and you take it.
That's amazing. Okay, guys, I'm not going to keep you too long. You've had a long day, but we're going to play a little bit of a game here. 8-second shootout. Okay, so it's going to be rapid fire questions. Don't think about it. First thing that comes to mind is the one that you say. I'm going to start with you. Okay, I'm going to ask you your 8 questions. Okay, and then it'll be over to you, coach, and see if you do any better. Okay, favorite movie?
Top Gun.
Top Gun. Okay, favorite stick brand?
Dita.
Favorite shoe?
Adidas.
Okay. Your first memory of Affies?
My capping as a grade 8 learner.
Okay. What was your favorite hockey player growing up? Who was your favorite player growing up?
Probably Spooner, the national team, definitely.
Okay. Your favorite food?
Definitely chicken nuggets.
Okay, that's yours. Well done. Okay, coach, let's go and do this. Okay, I'm not going to ask you double brandy and Coke questions, guys. It's a family show. Okay. First hockey memory?
Buying my first Grey's wooden hockey stick with my own money.
Shin pads or no shin pads?
Shin pads every day.
Okay. Mouth guard, no mouth guard?
No mouth guard.
Okay. There's one for the books. Favorite position to play in?
Right link.
Favorite player you've coached?
Oh. Probably be Sheldon Supra.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sheldon Supra, if you're listening, there you go.
Yeah.
Acknowledgement. Favorite city in South Africa?
Tora.
Name of your first dog?
Lady.
There we go. That's your 8 seconds. Folks, it's been an absolute privilege. Our first guest on Inside the D, Season 1, Episode 1, gents. Thanks for travelling up. Thank you for your time. And yeah, we wish you well in your remaining fixtures. A couple of big ones coming up for you. And yeah, we're going to track your young career and we're going to follow that closely. All the best to you as the Director of Hockey at Affies. Wishing you many unbeaten seasons and many national players. Awesome having you here. Thanks a lot, man. Right, folks, it's go time here for the men of Grey College. We're inside the D. It's Season 1, Episode 1. I've got Andrew Coopers, the captain of Grey College. Dylan Phillips, the man who heads up hockey at Grey College, the director of hockey. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you, sir. Nice to be here, sir. Thanks. Nice to be on the cast.
Yeah, guys, let's go back to this match quickly. So 4-1 in favour of Grey College. A game where it ebbed and flowed, a bit of a static start in that first chucker, just sorting each other out and looking at the tactics, Dylan, and then from there on it obviously started to click for you guys?
Yeah, I do believe that we've got a South African problem in terms of goal scoring. If we take our opportunities early on, we don't put ourselves under pressure. So large part of the season we've struggled to score, and then the opposition get an opportunity and we concede. So it was important for us, although we didn't score early, to make sure that when we are in the ascendancy we keep going.
Andrew, you're taking the game physically a tough game.
Yeah, I mean, against Affies it's always going to be a tough one. I mean, they always bring it 100% against us. So leading up to the game the week, it's just such a vibe at the school. It's such a big build up, and then to come out here on Friday night and just perform like we did, I mean, I couldn't have asked for more. So yeah, it was really good.
Andrew, the number on your back, what number do you play with?
Number 4, so
What's the reasoning behind that?
for me it was my captain last year, Jaden Leach, person I really look up to. So for me to just take over that number, take over that responsibility, it's the biggest meaning for me.
Yeah, so we spoke about you briefly mentioned Jaden Leach as a role model in your life. Let's go back. When did hockey start for Andrew Coopers?
So it probably started here around grade 3, when I for the first time stepped away from the rugby and the water polo and all the other sports that Grey has to offer, and I picked up a hockey stick for the first time and just fell in love with the game, and then just kept going from there.
Yeah, so you obviously play water polo as well, first team water polo player. How does water polo and hockey complement each other?
For me, just the physical aspect that I get from the water polo, to then come and be one of the bigger guys here at the hockey and be able to dominate physically, it's just, for me, that's the main reason I keep going at the water polo. And that transition from the fitness that I bring from the water polo into the hockey season, I don't really lose my fitness through the year. So for me to just constantly go at that hard pace, to keep going at both first teams, it just helps me flow throughout the whole year.
Dylan, let's get into the Dylan Phillips story. So a man who started out his hockey in East London and ended up in the Free State. Let's take our listeners to that journey quickly.
I think it all ignited in the year 2000, moving from Buffalo Flats Primary to Selborne Primary, and then on to the college. And then obviously a big setback with the accident in 2002 where the school was involved in a head-on collision, and there were some, I think, 10 survivors. And from that just ignited my love for the sport, to make sure I continue playing while I still could.
Some coaches you worked under, who you coached by in Selborne?
So 2 straight to mind. The late Tony Godding, a mentor for me that actually ignited coaching for me. And then Mr. Shane Viviers, who currently still at Selborne. And the current Selborne first team coach at the moment worked under him at under 16 level, KJ Friend. They'll be coming to visit Bloemfontein in 2 weeks, so it should be a nice one for us.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can catch up with the likes of KJ Friend and I think there's a man by the name of Warwick Scholl that's lurking around there. So Scully loves coming to Bloemfontein. He's shown us that over the years. He's a man who doesn't go to bed too early, but it'll be awesome. And then obviously playing hockey at Selborne and then coaching. How did that start for you?
So coaching started largely at Selborne, working with while playing in the first team, working with some of the junior teams, and also getting some responsibility from the first team coach while we split into different lines. I largely had a focus with the strikers. So while Mr. Viviers was working with some of the defensive players and the midfielders, he'd give me responsibility to work with the forwards, and I think that just aided my coaching. And when I left school, I went to Maritzburg at UKZN, and I was fortunate enough to work under Mr. Darren Gallagher, who's currently at Epworth at the moment, and learned quite a lot from him and playing under him. So I think a lot comes from him as well. Those are probably the 3 coaches that I've worked under that's really aided my coaching and developed it.
Oh, incredible. So move on some years, you find yourself at the head of one of the bigger hockey programs in South Africa. You arrive in Bloemfontein in 2025, and what's Grey College been like for you?
It's been whirlwind, if I could describe it that way. It's been very busy. Before I took up the role, I've always had a question as how are all the directors of hockey at the various schools always busy? And I think I've got that answer now.
Yeah, I mean, from organising leagues to making sure that parents are communicated with, to organising tours and things like that. Luckily, you have a man like J.R. Prince as your right-hand man.
Yeah, so he's been quite influential arranging all of the tours, influential with all the inter-schools. I don't have to do too much on inter-school time. He arranges it all, so we're very blessed to have a guy like Mr. Prince that's involved with the Grey Hockey program. And just looking to go from strength to strength, trying to get more hours on the pitch, trying to make myself more of me through the other coaches in terms of a style of play and what we're trying to adapt at Grey College. Obviously they've got their traditions, or we've got our traditions at Grey, and that I've got to buy into and make sure we don't change too much.
Okay. Talk about coaching on a national level, SA under-16 involvement. How did you come into that?
So I think it's just being involved in schoolboy hockey for a while now, and then 2 years ago got the role of the head coach for the under-16s, and I think this is the last year. It's the last part of the cycle. I was fortunate enough 2 years ago to travel with the SA under-17s as an assistant coach to Justin Collins to Malaysia. I think that tournament comes up now again in late October, November. It's been a good learning experience working with some of the top athletes from under-16 level. I think it's tougher working with the under-16s because you've got to identify them from scratch, if I can say that. And then when you go higher up, there's always names that come through the game. Whereas under 16 level, we've got to identify them, and I think I enjoy that part where there's no names coming into the event, and we've actually got to knuckle down from day one. And the last 2 years, it has been in the cold Bloemfontein. And I've always said I'm probably not going to come back to Bloemfontein, and making sure IPDs doesn't. And now I find myself at Grey College.
Yeah, that's amazing. Andrew, let's talk about what it means to captain Grey College's first side.
Yeah, for me, just the responsibility that comes with it, I don't think a lot of people really understand, because it's putting on the hard work and just getting the guys to keep going, keep pushing them throughout the season. Because I feel for a lot of the guys, especially late on into the season, they almost go through a dip where it becomes hard to keep going, keep pushing. And as the captain, you just need to keep going, keep pushing your boys. And I think I've really been able to do that with the group that I'm working with now. And for me to be the captain of the team here at Grey, the school really get involved, and just arranging everything off the field when it comes to the singing and the cheerleaders and what we do on and off the field, and just keeping the guys in line. It's really been a good journey so far.
Okay, you gave us a nice little elaborate description of responsibilities and things like that, but what is the first word that comes to mind about captaining Grey?
The pride that comes with it. So for me, just to be able to put on that jersey and then just lead my boys, lead my team into battle on this field every single game is just something so special and something I'll take with me for the rest of my life.
I mean, we're sitting inside the D where there was a lot of action earlier on, and talking about action, you've got a couple of big fixtures coming your way. You've got Selborne College in Bloemfontein, and then it's the big one. It's Provincial, who travels up here in August, and there's a big term going around at the moment. It's called Baker Ball. It's Michael Baker's style of play, and you must be looking forward to playing against those two teams.
Yeah, I think for us, having Selborne here next at home, really looking forward to it, because they're always such a top hockey school, and they always bring their side to every single game. And we know if we can push ourselves and we can get the win against them, it just gives us that extra bit of motivation going into that term 3 where we then face PE and Provincial. So to get the win over a Selborne is a great starting point for us going into that term 3.
Yeah, Dylan, just quickly getting to those teams. How amazing is it from a coaching point of view to have all this technology around you and all these different platforms that you can do analysis on and prep for Baker Ball and prep for your old school Selborne College?
I think it's brilliant, but we mustn't get too ahead of ourselves that we've got all this technology, but we know how to use it and when to use it. I think currently with the Grey College first team, there are the likes of super sport schools. Our players are only encouraged to watch our own games and not to watch the opposition, and it's largely up to me to try and analyze and to use the various tech that is around to analyze, to make sure that we give the right information to the players, and not the players trying to analyze and they seeing something else. So at this stage,
let's go to national, international hockey. Okay. If there's one thing that you can change about South African hockey from a national point of view, what is that?
I think it's our behaviour to officials. I think there's been a loud outcry at the moment that we've got to play the game, and we got to make sure playing the game is the most important thing. And if we don't look after our officials, our game is going to die very quickly. I think with the amount of investment that there is in the game, that we've got to look after them. And that goes, I can put my hand up as well from the side of the field, that we do get excited at times, but it's important to make sure that the players also, how we react to it, is important. And other than our behaviour, I'd like to see in South African hockey that we're able to score more goals.
Okay, brilliant. Talking about South African hockey, green versus gold will be coming our way towards the end of May. All the international players are flying in. It's the locals also in. There's two squads, green, there's gold. Andrew, who are you going with?
Definitely going to have to go with the green squad.
Okay.
I mean, we have two old greys playing there, and just to see them, have them as role models, just means so much to us as the boys here, because it's often looked at for us, being a hockey school from the Free State, that struggle more to get into those national sides and actually be involved in those setups. So to have two of our old boys playing there in that side, it's really looking forward to seeing them out there.
Well, there you have it, Trevor Delora and Jacques van Tonder, your old school still supporting you all the way. Dylan, you've watched the likes of Delora and van Tonder over the years. What is it about them that makes them stand out?
So I think one, if I speak about Delora first, his speed up front. I was fortunate enough to play in a fun Easter festival 2-3 weeks ago, and I happened to be one of the older guys at the back, and he almost showed me up for speed. Fortunately, experience counted in my favour. And then I think when we come to Van Tonder, I think it plays such an important part of the game, the art of drag flicking. And I think that series is going to come down to drag flicking. And that's why I'm going to have to go with green as well. I think the art that Jacques does have and the speed that he does flick the ball at will play a difference within that selection camp for them.
Okay, gents, it's that time of the show. It's the 8-second shootout. Andrew, you're going to go first. And I'm going to ask you questions. Don't think about it. Just give me answers. Okay.
Sure.
I'm not going to ask you about your girlfriends of the past. I don't want to ruin any current relationships and grey ball dates that you've got going on. So I'm going to start. First memory of hockey.
Probably playing the top 12 at under 13 when I was in grade 6. Winning that top 12 was probably my first and favourite memory.
Favorite hockey stick brand?
JDH.
Shoes?
Soccer.
Favorite food?
Pizza.
Brothers and sisters, how many?
3.
3.
Yes.
Okay. Your favorite color?
Black.
Black. Okay. That's your 8 seconds. Well done. Okay, Dylan, your turn. Bloemfontein or East London? It's a rapid fire question.
Bloemfontein.
Favorite stick brand?
Adidas.
Okay. Favorite music?
R&B.
Favorite artist?
Jay-Z.
Favorite movie?
Taken.
Book or Netflix?
Netflix.
That's your 8 seconds. Well done. Gents, it's been an absolute blast having you here. Wishing you everything of the best for the rest of your season. There's some big ones coming on, like we know. But thank you for joining us on our very first episode. It's so cool to be inside your D at Grey College. And we'll be supporting you all the way. Looking forward to what the season brings to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.